Was to give you just a little bit of sugar.
No,
Step back into Mel's diner, where the coffee was hot, the laughs came fast, and the faces behind Alice became part of television history. From Linda Lavin's unforgettable Alice Hyatt to the sharp-tongued waitresses, gruff Mel, and the beloved regulars, this cast made a simple roadside diner feel like home. But 50 years after the series first opened its doors, time has changed everything. Some stars continued to shine, some quietly stepped away, and others left behind stories fans still remember. Today, we revisit the smiles, surprises, heartbreaks, and final chapters behind the show. So where did they all go after the final order was served? Linda Lavin portrayed Alice Hyatt, later Mrs. Walden, the widowed mother at the heart of Mel's diner.
Listen, would you please go? I'm going to lose my job.
All right, but I'll be back.
Born in Portland, Maine in 1937, she grew up in a musical Jewish family with a businessman father and an opera singer mother, and was on stage from childhood before Broadway shaped her voice. She first appeared on Alice in 1976, when she was 39. Alice was a paper hat survivor, carrying grief, motherhood, humor, and a singer's unfinished dream through a roadside kitchen. The cruelest turn was how suddenly her final illness arrived, with lung cancer found only shortly before her death. After Alice, Lavin reclaimed the stage, winning a Tony for Broadway Bound, then teaching, directing, and acting near the end. She died in Los Angeles on December 29, 2024, from cardiopulmonary arrest with lung cancer as the underlying cause, at 87. Her light went out while the curtain still seemed open. Philip McKeon portrayed Tommy Hyatt, Alice's son, and the boy who gave the diner story its family ache.
Well, the special is lamb stew and lima beans. The most I can do is eat it.
You know, you were a...
Born in Westbury, New York, in 1964, to Barbara and Donald McKeon, a travel agent, he entered show business as a small child model, while his younger sister Nancy later became a television star. He first appeared on Alice in 1976, when he was 12. Tommy was the child at the counter's edge, half protected by his mother's hope and half raised by grown-up disappointment. A quietly painful fact is that his childhood fame did not become a lasting adult spotlight. After Alice, McKeon acted in scattered films, moved behind the scenes, and later found steadier work in radio news and morning broadcasting in Texas. He died in Wimberley, Texas, on December 10, 2019, following a long illness that was not publicly specified, at 55. The boy from the diner left before nostalgia could catch up with him. Vic Tayback portrayed Mel Sharples, the growling owner and cook who made the diner feel both impossible and permanent.
pick up 2 bacon and eggs.
Born in Brooklyn in 1930 to Syrian immigrant parents from Aleppo, he moved to California as a teenager, served in the Navy, studied broadcasting, and became a hard-edged character actor before fame found him. He first appeared on Alice in 1976, when he was 46. Mel was a storm behind the grill, all bark, smoke, spatula, and bruised affection hidden under a diner apron. The human shadow behind the bluster was his fragile heart. He had heart trouble and underwent triple bypass surgery in 1983, while the show was still part of his life. After Alice, the role followed him so closely that every later guest spot carried Mel's shadow. He died on May 25, 1990, of a heart attack in Glendale, California, at 60. The kitchen quieted before anyone was ready for the last order. Beth Howland portrayed Vera Louise Gorman, the nervous, tender waitress whose innocence gave Mel's Diner its most fragile heart.
If it hadn't been for the diner, I never would have met Vera.
And I wouldn't have met Elliot.
Born in Brighton, Massachusetts in 1941, she left home as a teenager for New York, struggled, reached Broadway young, and later joined the original cast of Company. She first appeared on Alice in 1976 when she was 35. Vera was a fluttering sparrow in a waitress uniform, dropping plates, apologies, and sudden sparks of courage. The most revealing sorrow came at the end. She asked for no public announcement, funeral, or memorial when she died. After Alice, Howland quietly stepped back, taking only occasional roles, while her name remained fixed to Vera's anxious sweetness. She died in Santa Monica, California, on December 31st, 2015, of lung cancer at 74. She vanished from the spotlight almost the same gentle way she had entered it. Polly Holliday portrayed Flo Castlebury, the brassy waitress whose drawl could turn a lunch counter into a stage.
To tone this place up is to burn it down.
Well, so what do you say?
What, you have to have an answer right now?
Born in Jasper, Alabama in 1937, she was the daughter of a truck driver and a homemaker, earned a piano degree, and taught music before theatre pulled her away. She first appeared on Alice in 1976 when she was 39. Flo moved like a neon sign, loud with jokes, wounded with pride, and armed with a smile that dared the room to underestimate her. Holliday later said acting helped erase childhood loneliness and feelings of not fitting in. After Alice, she carried the burden of a catchphrase, led the short-lived Flo, returned to Broadway, earned a Tony nomination, and lived modestly despite success. She died in Manhattan on September 9, 2025, from pneumonia-related complications after years of health issues at 88. Behind the laugh was a woman who made survival sound fearless. Diane Ladd portrayed Belle Dupree, the warm but sharp-tongued waitress who arrived after Flo's departure.
She was the first one to know that we had ants in the kitchen.
Too bad you don't live in Phoenix. Mel could use you.
Born Rose Diane Ladner in Mississippi in 1935, she was the only child of a veterinarian father and an actress mother, raised in the South with family ties to Tennessee Williams. She first appeared on Alice in 1980 when she was 45. Belle moved through Mel's Diner like a country song in motion, all brass, loneliness, and bruised charm beneath a waitress uniform. The deepest wound in Ladd's life was the death of her first daughter, Diane, in a pool accident at 18 months. After Alice, she found even greater late-career weight, earning Oscar nominations beside Laura Dern, while lung disease shadowed her final years. She died at home in Ojai, California on November 3, 2025, of acute on-chronic hypoxic respiratory failure at 89. Her fire lasted longer than grief should have allowed. Celia Weston portrayed Jolene Honeycutt, the waitress who brought Southern rhythm to Mel's Diner.
Just see him right now in his diaper and his little sailor hat. Teething on a spatula.
Born Celia Watson in Spartanburg, South Carolina in 1951, she grew up drawn to make-believe, studied at Salem College and the University of North Carolina School of the Arts, and changed her name because another actress used hers. She first appeared on Alice in 1981 when she was 30. Jolene was a bright, molasses-voiced survivor, carrying country humor like armor and homesickness like a hidden bruise. Weston later admitted the role hindered her film career, though the money made it hard to refuse. After Alice, she rebuilt herself in theatre and independent film, earning respect through Dead Man Walking and a Tony-nominated turn in The Last Night of Ballyhoo. In 2026, at 74, she remains a quietly active character actress with recent screen work and little celebrity noise around her. Martha Ray portrayed Carrie Sharples, Mel's free-spirited mother and one of the show's bursts of old-world show business. Born Margaret Teresa Yvonne Reed in Butte, Montana in 1916, she was the child of vaudeville performers and was on stage by age 3, learning applause almost before childhood could begin. She first appeared on Alice in 1979 when she was 63. Carrie swept in like a cracked brass trumpet, loud, loving, unruly, and impossible to ignore. The sadness beneath Ray's comedy was severe. She later endured strokes, circulatory disease, amputations, and legal conflict over an estate reported at about $2.5 million, a sum showing both success and loneliness. After Alice, she returned to cabaret, but her body failed faster than her spirit. She died of pneumonia at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles on October 19, 1994, at 78. The biggest laugh ended in a hospital hush. Dave Madden portrayed Earl Hicks, the diner regular whose dry presence linked Alice to the wider sitcom world. Born David Joseph Madden in Sarnia, Ontario, in 1931, he grew up in Terre Haute, Indiana, after his father died, and he was sent to live with relatives while his mother worked on the road. He first appeared on Alice in 1978, when he was 47. Earl felt like the weary man at the counter who had seen every joke coming and still stayed for coffee. One early hardship shaped him. A serious bicycle accident at 13 left him immobilized for months, and magic became his escape. After Alice, Madden remained shadowed by Reuben Kincaid from the Partridge Family, but settled into character work, photography, retirement, and memoir. He died in hospice care in Jacksonville, Florida, on January 16, 2014, from complications of myelodysplastic syndrome at 82. The grumble softened into silence. Marvin Kaplan portrayed Henry, the bespectacled diner regular whose small comments gave Mel's Diner another lived-in corner. Born Marvin Wilbur Kaplan in Brooklyn, New York in 1927, he was the son of a doctor, studied English at Brooklyn College, and moved toward theatre in Los Angeles. He first appeared on Alice in 1978, when he was 51. Henry was all nervous eyebrows, Brooklyn music, and comic timing, like a telephone wire humming behind every meal. The surprising ache in Kaplan's career was that he wanted to write plays and began as a stage manager, only to be pulled into acting because directors loved his accent. After Alice, he stayed a character actor rather than a headline name, working in voice roles, radio theatre, and Theatre West. He died in his sleep of natural causes in Burbank, California on August 25, 2016 at 89. Even a small voice can haunt a room long after it leaves. Ted Gehring portrayed Charlie, the quiet diner regular who hovered at Mel's counter like part of the furniture. Born Theodore Edwin Gehring Jr. in Bisbee, Arizona in 1929, he came from a background only lightly documented publicly, then built a workmanlike screen career after breaking into television in the mid-1960s. He first appeared on Alice in 1979 when he was 50. Charlie was a weathered, watchful presence, the kind of man who seemed to carry a desert road in every silence. The sadness of Gehring's career is that he was often cast as policemen, heavies, clerks and nameless men, visible everywhere yet rarely centered. After Alice, he kept taking character parts, then retired around 1989, his longest sitcom role still a modest one. He died of lung cancer on September 28, 2000, in Steelville, Missouri, at 71. His face lingered where fame never fully arrived. Patrick Cronin portrayed Jason Karp and Judd, diner-side figures who slipped through Alice with the rhythm of a familiar television character actor. Born in Philadelphia in 1941, the son of Anne McGlynn and Patrick Cronin Sr., he studied at La Salle University and earned a master's degree in theatre from Temple University. He first appeared on Alice in 1976 when he was 35. Jason and Judd felt like men who had wandered in from another sitcom street, talkative and gone before the coffee cooled. The deepest public sorrow in Cronin's life was the loss of his wife, actress Beatrice Colon, to lung cancer in 1999. After Alice, he chose endurance over celebrity, moving from Hollywood guest roles into theatre education at East Tennessee State University until retiring in 2019. In 2026, at 85, he appears to live quietly as a professor emeritus, with a career measured more in craft than noise. Victoria Carroll portrayed Marie and a girl in Bar, bringing show business polish to the edges of Mel's world. Born Mary Carroll Lee Ford in Los Angeles in 1941, she was raised in a theatrical Southern California family and was drawn into performance almost from infancy, later appearing in her father's mind-reading act as a child. She first appeared on Alice in 1977, when she was 36. Marie was the kind of woman who could turn a barroom glance into a tiny spotlight, glamorous, funny, and bruised by the room around her. The emotional turn in Carol's story is how she gradually traded applause for quieter work, later saying the applause in painting was a bit more silent. After Alice, she helped build theatre with Michael Bell, raised Ashley Bell, and returned to fine art, where her portraits became collected. In 2026, at 85, she appears to live as an artist, still studying faces for truth. Patrick Cranshaw portrayed Andy, one of the small diner faces who made Alice feel crowded with real lives beyond the main table. Born Joseph Patrick Cranshaw in Bartlesville, Oklahoma in 1919, he came of age during the Depression and found performance while entertaining troops as part of the Army Air Forces before World War II. He first appeared on Alice in 1976 when he was 57. Andy was a dry little spark in the corner, a man whose wrinkled smile could make a throwaway line feel lived in. The painful surprise of Cranshaw's life is that pop culture fame arrived almost at the end, after decades of anonymous bit parts, when Old School made Blue beloved. After Alice, he worked into his 80s, proof that character actors sometimes survive by refusing to disappear. He died of natural causes on December 28, 2005, at his Fort Worth home at 86. The late laugh finally became his monument. Charles Levin portrayed Elliot Novak, the police officer who entered Alice late and gave the diner's final years a sharper city edge. Born Charles Herbert Levin in Chicago in 1949, he studied at Yale, later worked in theatre and television, and carried stage-trained intelligence into comedy and drama. He first appeared on Alice in 1983, when he was 34. Elliot was neat, alert, and faintly wounded. A man in uniform who looked as if the joke might cost him something. Lavin's life held real loss. His wife, actress Catherine de Etre, died in 2007, and his own final years were far from steady celebrity. After Alice, he was remembered from Hill Street Blues, The Golden Girls pilot, Seinfeld, and NYPD Blue, but later withdrew from major screen work and lived in Oregon. He died on or about June 28, 2019, after an accidental fall near Selma, Oregon, at 70. The last road turned silent before help could come. 50 years after Alice opened the doors of Mel's Diner, the laughter feels softer, shadowed by what time has taken. Linda Lavin carried Alice from sitcom icon to Tony-winning stage work before her death in 2024. Vic Tayback, Beth Howland, Philip McKeon and Polly Holliday are gone too, each leaving a role fans never stopped calling by name. Others kept working, aging quietly beyond the neon sign. What do we really remember? The actors or the comfort they gave us? The diner is closed now, but the voices still echo after the lights go out.